Hello, everyone. Welcome to the BUZZ Expo once again. It is the last day of our Expo live events, and we start with an interesting topic. I'm happy to introduce you to Vlad Koriagin, CEO of the Baltic Travel Group, who will tell you everything you need to know about the post-corona travel in the Baltic States. Welcome, Vlad.
Hello and welcome everybody. Today is Friday. We enjoy very nice weather in the Baltic States, and I hope we will have a very nice conversation. I would call it a conversation rather than a presentation, because I think it's more important to discuss the issues which all our colleagues in the travel industry are facing right now, rather than promote ourselves. But we will try to do a light promotion of our company and the destination we offer as well. So let's start with a short video which will tell you about our company and what our company is offering. Let me share my screen.
Yes, we are. So now we have seen. Now we have seen a bit of what you do. Can you explain a little bit more, maybe, what your company, the Baltic Travel Group, does?
Okay, so the company is 20 years old. So just before the COVID, in the end of February, we had a big party. It was more than 500 people who attended the party. It's our customers, suppliers. It was on the 27th of February, and we celebrated 20 years since our company arrived on the market. The company started as a small, let's say, travel agency, as a small DMC. There were only two of us back in February 20 years ago. And before COVID, let's say, destroyed all our plans, we were 80 people in 3 countries, in Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. And in our company, we have 3 major departments. So first department is the inbound tourist department, which handles all incoming leisure requests into the Baltic States, groups and FIT. Then we have a department of meetings and events, which handles all MICE operation on the territory of the Baltic States, meetings, incentive, conferences, events, pharmaceutical congresses, and so on. And the third department is corporate travel or business travel department, which is taking care of business travelers from the Baltic States. We are affiliated with the agency, which is a business travel arm of Expedia, and we provide services for international corporate customers, which are based in Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. So basically, these are 3 departments which cover, let's say, most of the travel services which are required by our customers.
Okay, that's interesting. And well, this is a question I think everybody has, and everybody has facing this issue. How did you handle the lockdown so far?
It's a very, I would say, difficult question, and I think personally for myself, it was, I mean, all this period was like a nightmare. You know, it was like a nightmare, and it's like a horror movie which doesn't have an end. I mean, I have to tell you, I mean, despite I'm trying to be very positive and optimistic, unfortunately, we are still not, let's say, over the crisis. We are still not out of the woods. as the British people say. We don't know how it will end, and it very much depends what support will be provided by the governments, and will there be a second or third wave of pandemic. But of course, especially after big celebration we had, and after we had this enthusiasm within the company, it was very difficult to accept the new reality. And I can just share my personal experience. I think this is the most interesting. That up to a cancellation of ITB, we still had the hope that what is happening is just a small thing which is happening in China, and which will not have a big impact over European or American markets. I mean, this is not the first let's say pandemic crisis which is taking place. I mean, there were a lot in the past, but it never ever in let's say in my memory we had such a big thing when the whole world was closed. And even before ITB, we had a slight hope that it will end very, very soon. And I can tell you again from my personal experience, I had my stuff packed, my luggage packed for ITB. We had the hotel booking confirmation, we had all the meeting confirmation. So for the first 3 days, we had complete setup of bookings. The stand on ITB was completely decorated. And I remember that I was just checking every hour, the official Facebook page of ITB, and there was a very positive information like, don't worry, we need to show to the world that travel industry united. We are not afraid of any coronavirus. And suddenly, I think it was about 10 p.m. on Friday night when we got this message. ITB is cancelled. Nobody is going. And then for me, it was like a sign that that's the end. That's the end of the story. And we are really facing a big problem. Let's put it in a literal way. But and after that, we still were hoping that this crisis will be managed pretty soon. That there will be some vaccination, there will be some drugs. That the doctors and the medical staff will find how to handle it, and we still had a slight hope that this is not happening with us. I mean, it will be over pretty soon. But then we started to get all this cancellation, and it was becoming like a kind of snowball. Every day you are coming to the office, you see everything is going to be canceled. The people the company, the people, they are requiring money back. We have a lot of accounts payables, a lot of accounts receivables. We are in the beginning of the summer season when the companies are let's say hungry on cash because all the money were spent in winter. And this was very, very difficult period. I mean, it's still going on. However, that the borders are opening, and the flights are getting back to the schedule. So hopefully we will still have some business this year. I don't know how much, and will it help us to survive? But we are trying to be optimistic and do everything what we can. So your question was how
you handled the lockdown.
how we handled it. Yes, how we handle it. I mean, the first thing you need to accept it, which is the most difficult. I mean, psychologically, you need to accept that the company you've been building is going to burn down. I just read a couple of days ago interview of CEO of Airbnb, and he just said that everything we have been building during these years disappeared in a couple of weeks. So basically, the same happened with many colleagues in the travel trade, especially with the tour operators and with DMC. Everything we were building up during the last decades, it just disappeared over 2-3 weeks. So the first is to accept this thing that you're not going. The life will never be the same again. It's like accepting the disease.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you get crazy. I mean, you understand that everything, all your hopes, all your dreams, they are ruined. I mean, it's not because it's your fault, but it just happened. It's like earthquake, or it's like a war. I mean, it's something beyond your control. And uh, when you start to accept it, then you start to think, what should you do next? And of course, the most important is to do right financial steps. That even the situation is not as it used to be. I think many people accepted that and are ready to work under these circumstances. And of course, we need to decrease the payroll. I mean, some people we need to lay off completely, but some people were on a furlough, and there was some help also from the government. So here comes another issue. Despite we all are based in European Union, Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia, different countries provide different, let's say, support package to different organization. And this is also, I think, one of the lesson which should be learned, after this crisis, that we as a business, we are looking for some kind of united approach to the support of the small businesses, because even our company has offices in Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia, and we can see how different countries treat, for example, travel business, and what kind of support they are offering. And in some countries they give you subsidy, and you can use the subsidy, to pay your current invoices and to pay some salaries to the staff. So basically, you have some cash to survive. Other countries, they say, I mean, we cannot give you any subsidy, but you should go to bank and take a loan. But let's say, why should we take a loan and pay an interest on this loan if what happened is not our fault? And if we take this loan and if we start to use it, it means that we will have a big debt, which would be very difficult to pay afterwards. Some countries some governments are offering this help. Some are offering, just to take a loans. Some are offering furlough money, and again, different approaches. In some countries, like in Estonia, for example, the government give a part of the salary to the people, and the people still can work. And in other countries, if you get furlough, you cannot work at all. And it's again, it was a big case, because what means for us not to work. It's very difficult, because even if we don't have any business, if we don't have any new requests, we still have a lot of cancellations, a lot of refunds. We have a lot of legal issues, because DMCs, tour operators, travel agencies, they are middlemen. So we operate with very small margin, which we take, either from a customer or from supplier, and which allows us to run our businesses. And suddenly you are in the situation when you need to give money back to your customers. The customers are on your neck. We need the money, pay us money back. At the same time, suppliers such as air companies are not, let's say, in a hurry with the refunds. We still have a lot of cases when people are not getting money back because their companies are not getting money back, and we are like in the middle of all this trash. And again, what we expecting from this crisis, I hope one day it will be over. And I think that on European level, the governments, the air companies, the hotels, they have to come and sit and say, okay, guys, when you have this type of situation, what should be our actions, how we should behave, what should be our response to this. But we think it should be harmonized. What we see, from this crisis, that on a government level, on air companies level, there was no harmonization. There were some European air carriers which were giving money back as a refund. Some were saying no, some are still not paying the money. And let's say if we cannot handle it within European Union, what could be our expectations, from the countries outside of European Union. And the same goes about border crossing. The same goes about quarantine rules, and so on and so on and so on. Because again, what is happening now, for example, in Bulgaria, there is a spike of COVID diseases. I mean, not a big, but it's like now 15.5 diseases for 100,000 population. And automatically, some countries stop charges there, and other countries say, okay, we don't care. We want, I think, the same rules of ball game for all European Union. That would make our life much more easier, especially for our business, which operates in 3 different countries.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, I think so as well. So you already mentioned that that there is a difference in between handling this COVID situation in general. What would you say? How had the work of the Baltic States in general been in this regard? Did they do a good job? Had it all been too different what they have been doing? Can you tell us more about that?
I would say the Baltic States, let's say, were handling the virus in a very professional manner. The government took measures regarding lockdown very quickly, and the numbers of the people who suffered was very low. In Latvia, for example, there were only 30 death cases, and most of them were old people who were suffering from other diseases. So the first person who died from COVID was a lady who was 99 years old. So, I mean, of course, we are sorry about it, but still, I think that in our case, we didn't have this big problem with the disease, and only those people who already had some other diseases, died because of it. Because, I mean, for them, COVID was a kind of crisis, and not a sort of trigger, yes, for their disease, but it didn't really had an impact on most of the population. I think it's because of the fact that we always keep social distancing. Baltic people are known that they are different from Italian or Spanish people, from Latino people, so we are not going to kiss and hug the person if we know them very well. We prefer to keep the distance, and I think this was very good. So the social distancing is something which is in our DNA.
That's good.
We don't kiss and hug foreigners. We try to avoid them, and we feel very uncomfortable, if someone is going to kiss.
Perfect.
like all, I think, northern nations. This is one thing, and the second thing, which also was very positive, the Baltic states have a very low density of the population. So we have one of the lowest density of the population in European Union. We have many people who moved out of the countries, when the countries joined European Union, and we have big, let's say, labor market, so the people can go and work abroad. And of course, we are still developing emerging markets within European Union, so the level of salaries and the social support is not that good as, for example, in Germany or in Scandinavian countries. So we had a big, let's say, exodus of the population in the recent decades, and all the time, all 20 years, for us, it was a big problem and it was a big issue that we are losing our people and that our cities and our countryside is becoming empty. But suddenly, this problem became our benefit.
It's so.
Suddenly the fact that we don't have so many people left in our countries, it became a positive thing, and all that put the Baltic states on the first pages of international press. Without any investment from the governmental side. Cities like Riga, the capital of Latvia, and Vilnius, the capital of Lithuania, became the top cities to visit after COVID. Now the most important is for the people who want to travel is the safety.
Absolutely.
People are looking for safety. Like, what was important? What is the most important for hotel? It's location. So for the people who want to travel abroad after COVID, the most important is safety. And the Baltic states are the safest country in Europe. And suddenly our beaches are the safest beaches in Europe. Why? Because we can guarantee social distancing. So
it's not too crowded. Yeah.
Yes, we have a joke. We have a joke about Latvia that in Latvia there is only one beach. We have only one beach, but it's 500 kilometers long. and even it takes you maybe half an hour to drive out of capital Riga, where you will find a beautiful sandy beach. Where you will be almost alone, so you will not see any other people around. So you'll see the people even not within 2-meter distances it's required, but the next person will be within half a kilometer distance. And
sounds good.
Yes, it sounds good. Yes, and it's a kind of new luxury. So I think this is a very good chance for our countries, which were maybe not as popular as Spain or Greece or Italy. I think under new circumstances, suddenly our countries are becoming the ultimate destination for the people who, first of all, appreciate safety. We don't have any big, massive hotels, with all-inclusive programs. We even before COVID, before COVID crisis, I mean, our capitals were not overpopulated. So for the people who want to look for something new and they don't want to be like in a so-called tourist ghetto, I think the Baltic states, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia are fantastic destination to visit. And another thing which I also want to mention, like everywhere in Europe, the prices are very, very reasonable nowadays. So I think we are getting offers from the suppliers which are getting out of lockdown, and I think this is a fantastic opportunity to get the first class service at a very, let's say, at a budget level. So for those who decide to travel to the Baltic states this year, I can assure that you can stay, let's say, in a 5-star hotel at a 3-star price. Yes, and enjoy also other services. The Baltic states are known for their very high level of food, of service, of culture, and basically, I mean, we've been nicknamed as affordable Scandinavia before COVID. Yes, before COVID, the people say, okay, you have Scandinavian quality at Eastern European prices, but now after COVID, the price is even more friendly. So I would invite everybody who's watching this webinar to visit the Baltic States this summer if you want to travel on a budget and to a safe destination.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea to do. I mean, what can you expect more? It's a good price, you have a great service, and it's safe. I mean,
Yes.
this is what everybody's searching for, especially at the moment. And I
Yes.
think this will stay for a longer time.
Yes, and not many people around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which is very bad for us, which is very
Yeah.
bad for us because we handled a lot of business from Asia. We had a lot of customers from Japan, from China, from Taiwan, from Hong Kong, from Thailand, and unfortunately, all these groups they are not coming this year, unfortunately. But for people who are traveling within European Union, you can really make a most of it. You can make a most of it, so you really see the cities, the castles, the places of interest without these tourist groups, and I think it's a very nice feeling.
Yeah,
And
I think so as well. I mean, when you really now, well, it always sounds horrible or stupid if you use the chance. I hate that term, but if you really make use of the crisis, you can in the end really get people that might not have visited the Baltic states before may come even more in the future. So
yeah,
tell me.
especially, I think what I just said, it's a good point for city of Tallinn. For those who haven't been to Tallinn, have you been to Tallinn yourself? No.
No,
No.
no.
So if somebody asks me, what I can say about old city of Tallinn, yes, I can tell you, it's like a Disneyland, old historical
Yeah,
castle, but the
yeah.
only difference, it's a real one. It's
Right.
like Disneyland, but a real one. It's like a fairy tale. Tallinn is a fairy tale, and normally all ships in Baltic Sea, which are traveling to St. Petersburg, which is like the major destination on the Baltic Sea, they all make a stop in Tallinn. And if you have more than one ship, that's really going crazy. You really, it's really difficult to move around in the old city when you have, imagine two huge cruise ships with people from all over the world who are just, filled with their masses, the narrow streets of medieval city. And now, you can really walk around, you can enjoy, you can stay in a beautiful hotel at very good price. You can have your city at your disposal, basically.
Yeah.
Since now our air companies are starting the flights again, I know that many people would prefer to stay at home and not to travel anywhere, but I think this is the once in a lifetime opportunity to enjoy our cities without tourist rush at prices which will be like a fairy tale.
Yeah,
I think in 2 years you can tell how much you spend on your vacation in Tallinn, Riga, and Vilnius, and it will sound like a fairy tale.
for sure. Well, I think so.
Yeah.
So just to wrap that around a little, to break that down, what do you think? Just as my last question I have for you, because I just see we can talk for hours about it, but why should people choose the Baltic states? What to see and do there, and what makes it so unique?
Okay. For those people who haven't been, I can tell also about this subject. I can answer for hours, but I will try.
I think so.
I will try. Just in a nutshell, kind of stream of conscience in a nutshell. Okay, why to visit Baltic states? They are unique. We have a very unique history, and for the last, let's say, 30 years, these countries re-emerge on the world map as independent countries. I mean, these countries were existing between the First and the Second World War. They first appeared as an independent countries during this period, and then they've been victims to first Soviet, then German, and then again Soviet occupations. And let's say for almost 50 years, the countries were hidden behind the Iron Curtain, and they were like a part of Soviet Union, and they were not, let's say, really independent as they are now. In '91, when these countries proclaimed their independence from the Soviet Union, they re-emerged again, and the last 30 years was a very quick development in these countries, and they changed completely. And you know, many people, when I go abroad, I mean, still many people haven't heard about these countries, about their unique history, about culture, about their traditions, and so on and so on. So I think that currently, if we you know, if we take Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia, and you know, I don't want to tell it just because, you know, I am from these countries, you know, that I'm patriot of the Baltic, but you know, it's objectively. I think currently we are the safest, not just because of COVID, it's also because of, let's say, level of criminal activities. I mean, we are very safe. We are the greenest countries. We don't have any massive production in the countries. So we don't have huge factories or plants or so on. So we are really the greenest in terms that we have a lot of beautiful forests, and we don't have any, let's say, major pollution, which is unfortunately a problem for many other industrial countries. Yes, I mean, this is again, this is our minus, which under current circumstances is our plus. So we are really a green paradise. We have a beautiful coastline with the Baltic Sea, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. So nature is fantastic. It's almost untouched nature. The level of service, as already mentioned before, is one of the best in the world. The infrastructure is brand new. So most of the hotels or guest houses, they've been built in the recent decades, so they are still very fresh. And again, due to the fact that the density of population is very low, I mean, this is a new luxury, I would say. When you go to the crowded capitals of Europe, it's not something you enjoy. So for the people who want to find, let's say, calm in their minds and to find a peace, I think the Baltic States is a unique destination. But many people ask me, like, what I suggest to visit. I mean, should we go to Latvia, or should I go to Lithuania? Should I go to Estonia? These are all three different countries. Even if people think that the Baltic States is just one country, it's not true. I mean, every country is completely different. It has its own language, and even within the Baltic States, we do not understand each other. You know, so the older generation, if they speak to each other, they speak in Russian, because Russian was a major language, you know, under Soviet time. And now younger generation mostly speak English, but we don't understand if we speak our own language, and this is also quite unique. So I would invite everybody to come and explore our countries. And again, it's, let's say, the best kept secret of Europe, as we call it, and it's one of the most competitive secret of Europe, because I think the level of pricing in the Baltic States is second to none. I don't want to say that we are the cheapest one, but I think the value for money you get in the Baltic States is difficult to get in any other countries of European Union.
Yeah, perfect. That has been really in a nutshell. I love that because we're running a bit over time now. But everybody, if you would like to know more about the Baltic Straits, how to get there, what to do there, and so on, Vlad is member of BUZZ.travel, so you can find him on the platform. He has a stand at the Expo. Get in touch, request an appointment. So you see, he doesn't bite. You can have a really great talk with him. I really enjoyed that. And Vlad, thank you so much for this nice talk today, for all the information. I really learned something new today. And this is what I love as well. So wishing you...
I would like to take this opportunity, Marcus, to invite you personally. You know, when these things will be over and we could travel freely, I would like to invite you personally, be my guest. Yeah,
Thanks a lot.
You just need to take care of your flight. The rest will be taken care of by our company. Okay.
That's an absolute great offer. Thanks a lot. I will for sure let you know when all of this here works and is up and running again. Because I think, yeah, you really made me want to see all of that. That's really cool. Thanks a lot, Vlad. Best of luck. We stay in touch for sure. And have a great day.
We will survive. We will survive.
Absolutely.
No pasarán.
All the best. Everybody, thank you for watching. Stay tuned. We go on soon and stay safe. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.